They were the terror of the seas, men and women who lived by no law but their own. With black flags fluttering and cannons roaring, they chased fortune, freedom, and infamy. But what happens when the sea grows silent? When the sails are lowered for the last time? This is the hidden life of retired pirates, where they went, what they became, and how their legends lived long after the waves had forgotten their names. The Golden Age ends. The so-called Golden Age of piracy lasted only a few decades, roughly between 1650 and 1730. Yet those short years changed maritime history forever. The Caribbean, the Atlantic coast of Africa, and the Indian Ocean teemed with outlaws flying the Jolly Roger. But like all things that burned too brightly, piracy's golden age came to an end. By the 1720s, European empires, especially Britain and Spain, had finally grown tired of losing treasure fleets to sea wolves. They sent massive naval expeditions to hunt down the pirates. Some were captured and hanged, others died in gunfights, and a few simply disappeared into legend. But what of the ones who lived? When the ocean ceased to be their home, where did the pirates go? The amnesty that changed everything. In 1717, King George I of England issued a proclamation offering a royal pardon, known as the King's Amnesty, to all pirates who would surrender and give up their criminal life. This was the turning point. Hundreds of pirates took the offer. They were tired, wounded, and weary of constantly running from the gallows. For many, it was not cowardice, but survival. Among them were famous names like Benjamin Hornigold, once mentor to the infamous Blackbeard, and Henry Jennings, who had once raided Spanish treasure fleets. They accepted the king's pardon and attempted to start over. But could men who had lived by the sword ever truly live in peace? Settling down in the New World. After the amnesty, some pirates chose to settle in the Caribbean islands they had once terrorized. Jamaica, the Bahamas, and Barbados became havens for former outlaws. They built homes near the shores they once plundered. Many took up trades, ship repair, fishing, or tavern keeping. The return to normal life. Imagine the struggle of a man who had spent decades fighting storms and naval battles, now trying to live a quiet life on land. Pirates were outlaws, but there were also skilled sailors, carpenters, and navigators. A few were able to put those skills to use. Some joined merchant crews, ferrying goods across the same seas they once raided. Others became coastal guides for naval officers. But for many, the adjustment was impossible. The land felt like a prison after years of freedom on the open sea. Pirate legends who faded away. Let's look at what happened to a few of the most infamous pirates once the ocean no longer called their names. Benjamin Hornigold, once a fearsome captain, accepted the king's pardon and even turned pirate hunter. The hunter became the hunted, tracking down his old crewmates for the British crown. But fate had its own sense of irony. Hornigold's ship wrecked on a reef near Cuba, and he drowned at sea, dying where he had truly belonged. Then there was Anne Bonny, the fiery Irish pirate who sailed alongside Calico Jack Rackham. Her fate remains a mystery. After her capture, she was spared execution because she was pregnant. The records of her later life vanish completely. Some say she escaped, married a merchant, and lived peacefully in the Carolinas. Others believe she returned to piracy under another name. Her story is a perfect symbol of how elusive pirate retirements truly were, blurred between fact and myth. The ones who went native. One of the least discussed fates of retired pirates was assimilation. When the Caribbean and Indian Ocean crackdowns began, some pirates sailed to remote coasts, Africa, Madagascar, or Southeast Asia, where European empires had little reach. There they integrated with local tribes and communities. They married local women, adopted new customs, and lived as traders or chieftains. On the island of Madagascar, for instance, pirate colonies flourished. It was rumored that several pirate captains established entire settlements, blending pirate and Malagasy cultures. Some even founded families whose descendants still live on the island today. For these men, the sea never truly ended. It just became a memory whispered over palm trees and ocean winds. Pirate gold, the treasure that built new lives. Another question historians often ask: what happened to the pirate treasure? We imagine gold chests buried beneath X-marked sands, but reality was far more practical. Pirates spent their earnings quickly, on rum, women, and freedom. Yet a few were clever enough to hide their spoils for later. When they retired, that treasure became their new beginning. It bought land, ships, and respectability. There's an intriguing case of Olivier Levasseur, a French pirate known as La Buse. Before his execution, he supposedly left behind a cryptic note, a treasure map. That treasure, if it ever existed, was never found. Some believe his descendants lived off it secretly for generations. For those lucky enough to hold on to their gold, retirement meant transformation, from pirate to gentleman, from hunted to honored. Axe date, the pirate hunter's paradox. Ironically, many ex-pirates became pirate hunters. The British Navy, always in need of experienced seamen, often recruited former pirates. After all, who better to catch a pirate than one who once lived like them? They were familiar with pirate routes, tactics, and safe harbors. Some found redemption in serving the empire they once defied. Others did it only to save their own skins. But this alliance was fragile. To the Navy, they were always expendable. To other pirates, they were traitors. They lived between two worlds, trusted by neither. From outlaws to legends, as years passed, the once feared pirates faded into memory. But their stories didn't die. Writers, sailors, and storytellers began to romanticize them, turning men of blood and greed into symbols of freedom and rebellion. Ballads were sung about Blackbeard, who was killed in a dramatic naval battle in 1718, and about Calico Jack, whose colorful flag became the most famous Jolly Roger in history. In truth, most pirates lived short, brutal lives. But the few who retired quietly became living myths, their neighbors unaware of the bloody legends hiding behind ordinary faces. Imagine an old man sitting by the harbor, mending nets or telling tall tales to children, and none knowing that, once upon a time, he had commanded a ship that made empires tremble. Women pirates, a hidden chapter. The hidden lives of retired female pirates are even more mysterious. Take Mary Read, who fought disguised as a man alongside Anne Bonny. After capture, she claimed to be pregnant, postponing execution. She reportedly died in prison, but no burial record exists. Could she have escaped? Some historians think she did, starting anew under another name. In the East, Ching Shih, the most successful pirate in history, commanded over 80,000 sailors in the South China Sea. When she retired, she did the unthinkable. She accepted a royal pardon from the Chinese emperor and lived out her days running a gambling house in Canton. Unlike Western pirates who vanished in shame or secrecy, Ching Shih retired wealthy and respected. A rare victory in a world that offered pirates only two choices: the noose or the sea. The sea remembers, seen, a quiet coastline at dawn. Waves roll softly against the shore. And so the age of pirates faded with the tide. Their sails lowered, their guns silenced, their names scattered to the wind. Some found peace, some vanished into rumor, but all left behind a trace of defiance upon the world's waters. The sea remembers them, in every crashing wave and every horizon yet to be crossed. Their stories remind us that freedom always comes with a price, and that even the fiercest hearts eventually long for calm seas and a place to rest.